guys, and welcome again. I'm Boodhoo, and today we're going to be doing a language lesson that encompasses both grammar and a little bit of poetry. So put away the tablet, the phone, and let's get engaged and try to learn together. Even though you're home and I'm here, we can still do something meaningful. So we're going to touch today in grammar something simple, double negatives. So this is for standard 4. And what are we going to learn? We're going to learn the grammar of double negatives, and then we're going to do comprehension practice with poetry. What is a double negative? A double negative is when you use two negative words in the same sentence. So the question should be next, what are negative words? Negative words are words that indicate the meaning no or nothing. Some negative words are no, nothing, nowhere, neither, not, none, never. Some negative words can be used as a contraction. Such words can be can't, wouldn't, doesn't, don't. So now here's where we come to practicing, identifying negative words in sentences. That won't do you no good. Now read that sentence and you tell me what are the negative words in that sentence. That won't do you no good. Now when we're at home, it's okay to talk like that. But do you think it's okay for us to write like that? No, it isn't. So those are the two negative words, won't and no. And the way to correct the sentence is by removing one or the other and replacing it with something else. And we will see that. Right now we're just identifying. So let's look at number 2. Nobody with any sense isn't going. Read that and you think it through. What are the negative words? Nobody and isn't. She never goes with nobody. She never goes with nobody. What are the negative words there? Never and nobody. So now let's look at how we correct the negative words. To correct a sentence with two negative words, we need to change one of the negative words to a positive. It's that simple, and that's what I told you before. So let's look at some of the positive words that we have and that we can interchange our negative words with. Any, anything, anywhere, either. So let's look at some sentences now where we can correct those negative words. That won't do you no good. We know the negative words are won't and no. So what could we change it to? We could change the word no to any, and the sentence becomes correct now by us saying, that won't do you any good. Now that's correct grammar, and that's what you should write with. Let's look at another sentence. Nobody with any sense isn't going. We know that the negative words are nobody and isn't. Now think about those 4 words that we looked at earlier. Good. Which one of those 4 words could replace one of these negative words with? Good. Instead of isn't, we could use is, and we get nobody with any sense is going. We have the negative word still, but we replaced isn't with is. She never goes with nobody. And we know the negative words there. Never and nobody. So which word did we change? And look at how the sentence is differently now. She never goes with anybody. So we change nobody to anybody. And now the sentence is grammatically correct. So that's about it for our little grammar tip today. And what we're going to do now is we're going to look at some poetry and do some thinking to pick up the rest of our time today. So we have a poem, and the name of the poem is Clouds. So I will read it once, and then you will read it with me, and try to mimic the intonation and the way that I read it so we will understand how to read poetry. As I lay upon my back looking at the sky, watching soft white clouds passing by, some large, some quite small, many different shapes and sizes I recall. As I lay there watching the clouds take shape, from my imagination a million images did escape. I could see anything that was in my mind's eyes in those fluffy white clouds as they went floating by. For hours on end, no two images were ever the same, as the clouds on their journey came. As if on film, this movie played, while quietly on my back I stayed. Music came to the movie that played in the sky by all different birds, their songs a soothing lullaby. So beautifully orchestrated and done for me, that movie was created for me to see. And that's the poem. So we're going to read it one more time, and I want you to read along with me and try to read and get the rhythm behind the poem, the rhymes properly. So clouds. As I lay upon my back looking at the sky, watching soft white clouds passing by, some large, some quite small, many different shapes and sizes I recall. As I lay there watching the clouds take shape, from my imagination a million images did escape. I could see anything that was in my mind's eyes in those fluffy white clouds as they went floating by. For hours on end, no two images were ever the same, as the clouds on their journey came. As if on film, this movie played, while quietly on my back I stayed. Music came to the movie that played in the sky by all the different birds, their songs a soothing lullaby. So beautifully orchestrated and done for me, that movie was created for me to see. So what do you think about the poem? What is the main idea in the poem? What is it asking? What's the tone? What's the mood? And we're going to get right into it. We have about 8 questions we want to look at and examine together to help us understand poetry better and the comprehension skills we need behind poetry. So the first question, in what physical position is the speaker throughout the poem? Where should your mind be here? What is the speaker or the poet looking at? He's looking at the clouds. Where are the clouds? That's correct, they're in the sky. So what position would he have to be in? Now, if you read the poem, in your mind, you can't say he's standing because he said that hours pass. Can you stand for hours and just do this? Would you be comfortable? No. So in your mind, you must eliminate standing. And you might even eliminate sitting because you would have a similar neck strain. So there's only one position left, and that's correct. The poet was lying on the ground. And where was he lying on the ground? Could he have been lying on the ground in his room? Is that possible? Why is it not possible? And this is where the thinking process must go. You must question yourself to know if you are right or if you are wrong. And then you go back to see what line supports the poem. So what line supports the fact that he was lying on the ground? Look it through. I think we might find it in the first stanza. What line or what word? And there it is. As I lay upon my back looking at the sky. The words lay and back there help us to figure out what's going on. And let's look at the third question. Explain the words, from my imagination, a million images did escape. How would you go about explaining that line? Where is your imagination? Where was the poet's imagination? Was it in the sky? No, it's in his mind. And that's your first level of thought. So you know already that it's in his mind. And what does he do with it? What is an imagination? How does it work? And what is the connection to this poem? And all these things you must think about. There he is on his back, looking at the cloud, and images are leaving his imagination. And then if it is you still don't get the answer, you put yourself in the situation. If I was lying on my back, looking at clouds for hours, what activity would I do? And I'm sure you're saying I might start to see animals in the sky, or different cars or vehicles or different things. And that's where the images of the imagination come. So when you go to explain that now, you ensure that you cover all those things. And when it says explain the words, explain means your opinion. And you make sure and you justify your opinion well. So you say, the words from my imagination, a million images did escape, explains the different things that the poet or the boy lying on the ground saw as a result of the shape of the clouds. You make sure and put in something to show you know what you're thinking about, because it's the shape of the clouds that gives us different images. You may even be able to see the way the clouds drifted. So let's move on. Why is it that no two images were ever the same? And we just spoke about that. It's simply because the clouds are moving, as well as his imagination is continuously working. What word in stanza 2 describes how the clouds moved? And that's an easy one. Let's read stanza 2. As I lay there watching the clouds take shape, from my imagination, a million images did escape. I could see anything that was in my mind's eye in those fluffy white clouds as they went floating by. What word in stanza 2 describes how the clouds moved? What word is it? Is it watching? Does that talk about the movement of flow? Is it escape? No. The word is that word almost to the end, floating. So the word floating describes how the clouds move. Why does the speaker compare the movement of the clouds to a movie being played? And here, this is a higher order question, so you have to think. Think about what you know already, what you saw in the poem. A movie being played. What aspect was brought out in the poem that could align itself to a movie or something you would see in a movie? I'll give you a hint. It starts with I. Good. That's his imagination. And the fact that different pictures were flowing through his mind, it's like a movie where you're seeing different images, some progressing, different ones connected and stuff like that. And that's how you go ahead to explain it. Why does the speaker compare the movement of the clouds to a movie being played? And you say it's because he used his imaginations and he saw different images that were connected and made sense to him in what he saw in the clouds. And what sense does the poet mainly appeal to in stanza 4? Let's look at stanza 4. Music came to the movie that played in the sky by all different birds, their songs, a soothing lullaby. We have 5 senses. Is he trying to make you see something in his imagery? Does he talk about things that appeal to your taste or your smell? Is he trying to make you feel up something that you can touch, the texture, the feel on your skin? No. So what sense does it appeal to? We have the word music. How do we know what music is? We have the word that this music is being played. The birds are singing, and they're singing soothingly. So tell me, yes, it's the sense of hearing. And now they say, support your answer with information from the poem. And that's simple. We have the word music came. We have the word different birds, their songs, a soothing lullaby. So he's trying to make you feel like if you are hearing calm, collective, cool music. And that's the end, guys. Thank you for spending this time here with me today. I look forward for us meeting right here very soon. Take care.